finally we tracked him down. We found him. Dr. Richard Haber is our doctor. He's a pediatrician. He's the director of the Pediatric Consultation Center at the Montreal Children's Hospital of the MUHC, and he's here to take your calls. We'll be looking at all kinds of back-to-school stuff in this hour, but if you've got a question about your child's health, give us a shout, 790-0991, or you can text your question to 514-800. Welcome back, Dr. Haber.
Thank you very much. It's been a hectic time. I missed you. You missed me. 2 ships passing in the night. I had to move my private office. I've had headaches, but I'm okay now.
You're okay now?
Yeah.
Well, this is sort of like an island of calm.
Oh, yeah.
In the chaos of your day, is it not?
Yeah, exactly. Especially with you.
So this is back to school time. This is a time where after the long, lazy, hazy days of summer, and kids sort of getting up a little later, going to bed a little later. Now we're heading back into a time where everybody's on a schedule.
Absolutely.
And for, in particular, I would assume young children, but probably all kids, this can be a stressful time of year, both for them and for their parents. What do you think? I mean, how can a parent sort of prepare a child? Let's talk about a kid who's going into school for the very first time, and the stress and everything that's associated with that. How can a parent prepare their child?
Good question, Kim.
Does that mean you don't know the answers?
I don't know all the
Stalling.
answers. You know as many answers. No, I have to just give you a little footnote that many of my mothers have big smiles on their faces.
Oh, yeah.
Because their kids are going back to school.
We used to laugh, actually, that the parents were all depressed, on Saint Jean-Baptiste at the end of the school year, and we were the ones jumping for joy right after Labor Day.
Right.
So that being said...
Yeah. So I think, if it's your child's first experience of school, and depending on the temperament of the child, sometimes, anxiety can creep up. They don't want to leave their mummies. So that might be an issue for some families. And I guess the best way to deal with that is sympathetically communicate with your child. Stress the positive aspects of going to kindergarten or grade 1. It helps if a lot of their friends in the neighborhood are going as well. And you can sort of play up that social role. And I think keeping in close contact with the teacher if there are any particular issues that come up. So all of these things will help little kids.
At a young age, kids are not often, they're not as verbal as they are when they're older. So can stress manifest itself physically? What should parents be looking for?
Yeah, I think that's often the case. And certainly when there's going to be a disruption of as you had mentioned, the carefree schedule of summertime. And in young kids, this may manifest itself in a variety of ways, not wanting to go to bed, not wanting to go to sleep at night, maybe waking up and coming to the parents' bedroom for comfort. Maybe they're going to start complaining of a little abdominal pain, or so they'll somaticize what they can't express verbally.
Do you find that your waiting room clogs up a little bit right after school
starts?
Yeah,
you start to get some issues coming in.
Yeah.
Exactly. Of course, it's more likely they're going to start getting sick. There is also if you're asthmatic, there's something called the September phenomenon, where for some reason the incidence of asthma in children who have asthma increases. And so we try to advise parents whose children have asthma to be prepared for that.
Oh, really?
Maybe get them back on their medication, their controller medication, during that time as well.
Must be all the chalk dust.
Well, not clear what it is. It's perhaps related to more infections because they're in closer contact with each other and so on, but not absolutely certain what it is.
I want to ask you, because on the school supply list,
oh, really?
that teachers have put out, it used to be back in the day, well, when, we were kids, they didn't have one, but
when we were what?
When the Dead Sea nearly had a cough. But now there's antibacterial wipes, antibacterial, sort of hand lotions.
Yeah.
Is it better for the kid to kind of let them get, because, the first year of pre-K or daycare or whatever, it's like one disease after the other. Yeah. Is it better to let them go through that, or is it better to just disinfect everything and protect them?
Well, there are several schools of thought. I think we live in a kind of an era where there's a real phobia about dirt, about germs and so on, but it might not be all bad because a certain exposure to endotoxins, things that are produced by bacteria and viruses, stimulates our immune system. And in fact, that stimulation can cause that switch over of our immune system so we're not as susceptible to allergies. So that's the so-called hygiene theory. one of the theories proposed to explain why there's a greater increase in asthma and so on among children is that, that switch over of their immune system, because the early immune system favors the formation of antibodies against allergens, and then as we grow older with more stimulation of the immune system, it switches over to the more of the adult variety that doesn't produce those antibodies. So maybe we're a bit phobic about germs. I think the important, soap and water is fine. Don't spend a lot of money. Just wash your hands properly with soap and water. After you go to the bathroom, wash your hands with soap and water. Before you eat, wash your hands with soap and water. But I think it's kind of nonsense to think that we want to keep our kids in some sort of bubble, never exposed to any kind of dirt or antigen and so on. Following their children and wiping every surface and so on. I think people are a bit neurotic about that.
You only do that really for the first kid.
That's right. The more kids you have, by the time I had my sixth child, believe me.
Oh, it's like whatever. 514-790-0991. You can text your questions to 514-800. Our guest, Dr. Richard Haber. He's our pediatrician, director of the Pediatric Consultation Center at the Montreal Children's Hospital. CJAD time is 1:15. Charmin Yarnell is at the CJAD Lakekeeper All-Day Traffic Center. Keep an eye on the road, Charm. What's up in the DeCarry? Okay.